views and objections on how research should be used. Next on See Here, we are heading down to London to see the work of a deaf poet exhibiting his work at Southbank Centre, and the poet's name is Steve Madden.
Steve Madden is a profoundly deaf poet. He's come from his Scottish home today to the Royal Festival Hall at the Southbank Centre complex to see his work exhibited for the first time.
I felt overwhelmed at first and excited.
The exhibition of the poems is all the more extraordinary because they are the first poems Steve has ever written. He wrote them whilst he was in prison.
Being in prison was embarrassing for me and my family, and it was stupid as well. They've wasted all that time when I could have been doing other things beneficial to society. It's not going to happen again, no. But yeah, it was a bad time, very bad.
4 years ago, in October 2008, Steve was charged with drug dealing and sentenced to 6 years and 9 months, of which he served just over 3 years, at the Open Estate in Castle Huntly, near Dundee. He was recently released on parole.
I was involved in the supply of heroin, and my customers were well-paid people with good jobs, and my sentence that as well. Reflecting back, of course, I feel ashamed, embarrassed and disgusted with myself. Being in prison, you had a lot of loose time on your hands, so you had time to reflect back into your past and put it to words, and it just carried on from there. I don't think if I hadn't been in prison, I wouldn't have been doing poetry today, no. Dust, carbon, atoms be of earth, sun, moon, sea.
Judith Stewart is a programme tutor at the Open Estate who encouraged him to write his poetry.
I first met Steve when I started to work at Castle Huntly as a programme tutor, specialising in literacies and creative writing as a focus. Steve at the time was doing full-time education in the Prison Learning Centre. He'd covered quite a number of courses already, so he was looking for something new to get involved in. Steve started to write and read poetry probably because it was a fantastic way of expressing himself. He had a real fantastic love of language and appreciation, and through the poetry and his use of vocabulary he was able to write some fantastic pieces. I helped Steve immerse himself in not only poetry from modern magazine poetry to old-fashioned 1950s poetry, but non-fiction, fictional novels, song lyrics. All these things then influenced his own creative writing. Certain stanzas in his poetry we would reword or rework, and it would all help with the piece in the end.
Metamorphoses, the way I wrote it was my reflection on life, as opposed to a different person's reflection. And I was wanting people to see my reflection and see if they agreed with it. And apparently somebody must have agreed with it, because I won the Silver Award with it. Gentle wind blowing, ashes, me, dust, carbon, atoms be, of earth, sun, moon, sea, proton, neutron, quark, free.
Metamorphosis and the Dark are probably two of Steve's strongest and powerful pieces of work to date. Both poems are not so much based on a particular style, but drawn from a variety of styles and kind of created their own unique style in a way. Metamorphosis in particular, using one-word or two-word lines, and always tying in, particularly the ending, proton, neutron, quark, free, all tying into the overall theme of something becoming something else, but the word free at the end, relating then to Steve's his prison life and his imminent liberation.
The dark. Lying on my bed in the dark, I have no fear, for I welcome the dark. The black velvet envelopes me, cocoons me, soothes me. No ghosts, demons, nor banshees in the still of the night permit, for I'm not religious. I came from the dark, and I will leave in the dark. The dark is similar to metamorphosis because their approach is anti-religion. And instead of people being scared at the dark, I want them to welcome it as a friend.
Very much kind of dark similes that are involved in the beginning of the poem, and it becomes more personal. Permeate my darkness, one of my favourite lines, and I can remember the day that we found the word permeate and how fantastic we thought it fitted in with the poem at the time.
Steve is about to see his poetry in exhibition for the first time. The exhibition of current and ex-offenders' artwork is organised by the Koestler Trust.
Britain is the only country in the world with an arts award scheme open to all its prisoners, and that is the Koestler Awards and the Koestler exhibitions, which we've been running for 50 years now, founded by a man called Arthur Koestler, who was himself a prisoner in the Spanish Civil War and the Second World War, and he wrote while he was in prison, and for him to get through the prison experience, writing was crucial to him. Steve's poem, Metamorphosis, what a beautiful poem, all about change, moves through a series of images and ends up on the word free. That is the process that we at the Koestler Trust try to help offenders go through. They move through a creative process which helps them find a freedom of self-expression to reach new lives for themselves that are free from crime, so when they come out into the community they will be part with the rest of us. Steve's won 2 Koestler Awards this year. He's won a Silver Award for Metamorphosis, one of his poems, and a Gold Award for Dark. That's remarkable achievement. The competition is really stiff.
Well, it was worth the long journey to come down for, to be eventually able to see it up on the wall. I'm quite over the moon about it.
I hope Steve in the future continues to write. He's obviously got a talent for writing. He produces thought-provoking work as well as light-hearted, humorous pieces as well. As a person, I hope that Steve learns from things that have happened in his past. But like a book, I hope that he closes that chapter, starts a new one, and hopefully we can see some of his work in print as well sometime soon.
Looking back at the past, I just call it my black past. I was released in March. I'm still out on parole. Coming to the Southbank today has given me a boost, and I'm quite happy that my work's on display, and I suppose I'll just have to look forward to the future. And what I can just say to everybody out there is just keep away from drugs.
What an inspirational guy. Congratulations to Steve on winning his awards. Well, that's it for this week. See you next time. Goodbye.